Hello. When we are in the Bible, it's important for us to study with the Holy Spirit. And that might seem a little strange at first to some people who aren't familiar with the idea of praying with the author of the book that wrote it. But just reading through the Bible can be very taxing if you're not reading through the Bible with the author himself. With the Holy Spirit guiding you, it'll definitely make a lot more sense. We get into the New Testament here. We're in Thessalonians. First Thessalonians is probably the first letter that we have that Paul wrote. He's talking to the church of Thessalonians, the Thessalonica church. He was kind of chased out of that city. You can read about it in the book of Acts, but he was chased out of the city, and but he still did leave a remnant church there behind. And this is his letter, kind of just to remind them of things that he preached to them and to encourage them, giving thanks to them, to the Thessalonian churches, talking about the lives that have changed in the gospel, and them living the example of the gospel forward. Chapter 2, Paul goes into talking about his ministry, about how he is sincere. He's not just one of those fake preachers or just, charlatans that comes around and tries to swindle people for money or trickery. In fact, he points that out several times, that he didn't take money from the people when he had right to ask for, donations. He didn't do that. He actually had a second job. Yeah, he was a tent maker as well, so it's kind of interesting. But he talks about his ministry, his support, his self-support, him thankful that the gospel is there and that it's God's message, not man's. And then chapter 3, about appointed to affliction, how affliction cannot be a surprise to Christians. He told them to not be surprised about tribulation and about affliction, not the great tribulation. That's one thing we need to remember. Paul didn't warn them about the great tribulation because he knew that they would be removed before that. He knew there was a taking out, a rapture of sorts of the people of God before the great tribulation period would happen. And that is my view, very pre-trib as far as that goes, but you can see a lot of that in Thessalonians. Timothy, the encouraging report from Timothy, good news from Timothy, Paul's prayer for what's lacking, that he may be reunited with the Thessalonians to continue to influence them positively, and to live in abundance of love. It's important. Chapter 4, comments on the coming of Jesus. And that's, again, a lot of the people were wondering, because we've had people dying, our loved ones are dying, and Jesus hasn't come back yet. They were literally expecting him around every corner. I love reading Lloyd C. Douglas's The Robe. It's a great book about just the robe of Jesus and what would have happened with the Roman soldiers that crucified him and all that. But interesting, because he shows a picture of the Christians, the early church, just literally looking for Jesus around every corner. They really were waiting for him, and we should be too, even today. That hasn't gone away. Reminding the church to live pure lives, to live quiet before God, to live a life increasing in love, and be an example, lacking nothing. And again, that's where he gets into the talking about the believers falling asleep. Ready for the day of the Lord in chapter 5, talking about be awake, be sober, be watchful, and it can happen at any time. Urging them to how to deal with difficult people, how to deal with their public worship, and to be sanctified before the Lord. That's just First Thessalonians. I just got done doing a whole study of the First Thessalonians with my Word of Truth devotional that I email out. Been doing that for almost 20 years to a select group of people that want my devotionals emailed to them. I also post them on social media when I can. Obviously, mostly just Facebook, and that's pretty much it. Anyway, I do email them out. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'll be happy to email you one too. I just got done with First Thessalonians, and we're in Second Thessalonians now. So continue studying the Word. Pray that the Holy Spirit will meet you, and He will. God bless. Thank you for listening.